welcome everyone to Planning Board for January 28th. We'll start off this evening. We've got one set of minutes from the previous meeting. Anyone have any corrections?
I'll make a motion to approve the minutes as written.
Is that January 14th?
Yeah.
I'll second.
All right. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Nobody to abstain. Motion carries. Okay, next we've got request for comment from the ZBA. It's a summary, Steve, please.
Are they in our packet?
It
Yeah.
was in the mailed packet.
Oh, the mail packet?
This is an existing structure on East Union Street which has 4 units in it, and they want to add a 5th. And its density would be higher than allowed by zoning. It needs a variance. And you have the opportunity to comment on that if you wish.
So it sounds like there's not any additional, like, exterior changes here then?
I don't, no, they didn't suggest they were gonna add to the building at all. I was thinking that you would probably see it as a site plan because of the question of is there enough parking or where do you want the parking? Though, in one case, you waived that consideration, another place, I don't know what you'll wanna do.
Alan?
Do we know when that addition was built on the back of it? With the little site plan, they give you says new addition.
Is that the one they did over the summer?
Yeah, I'm here. I mean, I can tell you, I'm the lower.
Oh, sure, yeah, if you can tell us about that.
Sure. I'm Brian Norway, yeah, my property's on East Union. And what happened was, I had a storage building that, well, I had to do some foundation work on the main house. So while we were doing that, I was talking with Sperry, the concrete guy, and we talked about tearing down the existing storage building and rebuilding it. At the time, we were thinking the timing would be good to, do the foundation for the whole thing. So I came down and got a permit, and the plot plan you have is basically, it's the same, it's rebuilding the existing structure as it was, the same footprint. The footprint has not been expanded.
Okay.
There's a half a story, maybe not even that, because had a shed roof on it originally. So it maybe it was a quarter story, closer to the building. But anyways, to make a long story short, it's like one full level with a basement under it and then a half a story on top. That building, that structure is built now. So what I wanted to do was use it as living space rather than storage. So I talked to Derek and he said, well, depending on, according to the regulations, you can only have, I think it's 6 per acre. I have a half an acre. So I have 4 on site and I want to convert this storage building to an additional, so it would be 5. But like I said, the existing footprint would not change, and the structure's already built now. I just want to convert it. At the time they said they couldn't permit anything more than, to replace storage. So that's what we did at this point. So I'm coming to zoning first. They said you wanted to comment on it before I went to zoning.
Yeah, they typically offer us the opportunity to comment. Sometimes we do,
I
sometimes
mean, I
we
have
don't.
sketches of drawings and stuff if you want to look at that stuff. I
Yeah,
don't know if it's-
probably not at this point. Tim?
Is the tax map accurate as depicted to us, or does that part extend farther beyond what's on the tax map?
It shows tax map shows a 20 by 20.
Is that accurate for the footprint of the
So it
building?
would be not quite accurate because this is 24.
Well, yeah, it's 20 by 24. It's
Yeah.
it has, the setbacks were moved. It's a little bit wider. It was 20 by 20, so.
Yeah,
it's
tax map's
24.
20 by 20. So the tax map
So
would
it is
be
slightly
corrected by some little amount.
Okay. So I mean, there's not a bump out off the back of what's there now. What's there is what you have right now.
Right, it didn't go out any further.
Okay.
It's just a little bit wider.
Okay.
So,
Thank you.
sure.
So anyone feel a need for comment to ZBA, or we'll let them handle it?
Well, my only question would be, at the 4 units, are we gonna require a site plan, or is there a site plan required for this?
There would be a site plan required, because the parking demand changes.
Okay.
Now, you have upon occasion, when there's no outside improvement, you've decided whether to waive it or not, but that's, the board's done different things in different cases. But I would.
We would make that
I
decision
would
later,
look at
right?
this and say, you add a unit, 2 more parking spaces, that's a site plan unless the board wants to do something else.
Understand that?
Absolutely, yeah.
Okay.
So I'll need 10 parking spaces, basically.
But what you have to do is come up with a site plan, basically demonstrating where those 10 spaces are. It has to
No,
be
that's-
reviewed and approved by the board?
So, now I do need to do that before I go to zoning?
No.
No.
Oh, okay. So, yeah, I would go to zoning and then I'll come back to you guys for the site plan approval? Yeah, sure, that's fine.
Just for the applicant's information, is there anything that's not on this site now that would have to be added as a part of a site plan approval? I.e. a garbage container with screening or any of those types of things? Is he gonna be required to meet anything that he needs to know about now?
Is your trash picked up now? It's a multifamily, it's privately taken care of, right?
Yes, as a matter of fact, it's right, I own a multifamily right next door, which is a 5-unit, and I use the same dumpster on that site
For both
both.
properties?
for both.
Okay. Just trying to make you aware of any pitfalls you may come up against with a site plan.
I mean, the only thing I could think of was parking. I mean, that would be something that you want to see.
Okay.
Yeah, you know, that's.
Okay.
here.
No comment.
No comment.
Looks like no comment, so we'll wait for it to come back from the ZBA.
Is that by consensus, so
Yeah.
for the record, okay,
For the record's consensus is no comment.
thank you.
Good luck.
So,
Thank you.
I'll so inform the ZBA.
This is edge of civilization.
all right, then we have, sign request. This is for what?
This one here in our packet, the edge of civilization?
No.
I'm trying to figure out what
I
that
don't know what the
is.
hell that is.
That was me having fun, and that did not become official correspondence, but I stuck it in your packet.
So this was a
I looked
joke?
all over town for this for the last 4 days.
It's New York State.
I know it is. When you look at the darn sign, it's the shape of New York.
I just-
This is the
Was this
sign.
was this your parting gift, Steve?
Yes, I thought you'd enjoy that.
It was funny. Couldn't
I
find it
don't
either.
know how the people in New Boston are aware of things, but,
Had a regional impact.
but that's a real sign in New York State, and I couldn't help but take a picture of it when I saw it.
Well, I was thinking you might be talking
The
about
edge of civilization.
that one up there for Indian Rock that you can't see from the road.
So,
Anybody know where Indian Rock is? In Goffstown?
Up on Warren Pond? Warren Pond Road and stuff?
Huh? No. That's the test for next week.
Actually, I thought this is where you were retiring
I'm
He's
past
trying to
that.
move beyond the edge.
It's getting
I'm on the other side of the sign.
to. That's what I meant. You were showing us what was on the other side.
But I mean to be there. Okay.
All right, so,
The sign is J.C.'s Bagel and Deli Emporium, 28 Main Street, which is where formerly Two Friends Too Good to Go, the food folks were there. And so this is a sign that fits in the same location that the last one was in. And it was sent to Main Street. We've not gotten anything back.
yeah, I was gonna ask you if you got anything formal.
No.
I'm on their email list, so I know what was being discussed.
So I think the design group looked at it. Their director suggested it did meet the guidelines. There was discussion at the group, I understand, and we
Yeah,
got nothing back.
Yeah, I don't see it in your memo here, but what had been given to Main Street said that the coloring was supposed to match the colors that are currently there, so it would still be the same color. You know, that kind of maroonish color.
Well, there was discussion of that, but I heard from the.
That's what they told Main Street.
Oh, okay.
you know,
That those
that
colors.
this background
would-
color would be the same as
that's fine.
the, you know, that
Okay.
maroonish
Get that
color
one.
that's there now.
I don't know, I got a black and white
Yeah,
one.
mine's in black
I'm
and white.
special.
Yeah, I
You are
figured that.
special. We're no denying that.
He's got the big file. At any rate.
So is it gonna be that color right
the-
there?
The sign.
No, are you familiar with the color that this
No.
current sign is? It's kind of a reddish maroon color. The idea was, at least if they told Main Street, was that this background color would be that same color. It was really just the lettering
Take
that
your
was
word for it.
changing.
Okay.
Yeah, the only other comment, you know, significant comment I saw in the Main Street discussion was, you know, there was some concern, and this is probably beyond the planning board's interest, but they were discussing about the lettering being on top of the little graphic there and not being clear.
That's true, and that's where I heard from the director who said, you know, this does meet their policy,
Oh, yeah,
their
yeah.
guidelines.
Yeah, it's one of those, you know, minor design
And,
things.
and it meets the ordinance, and I would say that it has the, from your design review standards, it has a high degree of legibility from the letter size, which meets your guidelines as to what you're looking for, and color contrast and the limited amount of information. And it's compatible in terms of where it's going on the building, like where the last one was, is where it's
Right.
made for the signs, et cetera, and would recommend approval.
Is there any comments on that? A motion?
Make a motion to approve the sign as presented and detailed by the chair.
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Let's see. Okay, we got a request to continue our last hearing here. See, this one, as I recall, has been continued multiple times already, right?
Well,
What was the reason
This-
for the
well,
continuing?
I think that Megan and I were satisfied. The attorney for the client was worried about conservation's, might have issues that she wasn't aware about, and she didn't want to, and she wanted them all resolved first, in her,
Oh,
in her mind.
So they were waiting for further,
well, conservation last
Conservation?
night asked that they come back
to them.
to see them. So that was conservation's last night, Conservation Commission.
So presumably this is giving them time to do that.
So,
Let's talk about this a little bit.
Okay.
This was continued once before to give conservation time to do their thing. If I'm not mistaken, was it not?
it had been continued,
Can you tell me what site we're talking about, please?
we're talking about Sharon
Oh.
on East Dunbarton.
On East Dunbar
Lindsay.
Road. I thought from the earlier stuff that all the engineering things were
Yeah.
complete and
That's right.
reviewed and approved and
Yes.
Both Megan and I are satisfied with recommendation to approve.
And the letter for continuance does not mention the Conservation Commission, does it?
Well, no, it doesn't. That's a conversation I had with
Do you
her.
have a memo from Concom on what issues they
No.
have?
No?
Because I had sent my concerns, one of my early field walks out there, I had sent my comments to Concom, and I thought they,
Well, they met last night, and so I heard, since Patty takes the minutes, so, or is there, that's what they would like. Obviously, their minutes are not in yet.
Well, just reading the, you know, the memo a little bit closer here, saying primary reason for this request is unavailability of Mr. Weichert due to health-related issues.
Well, I would have recommended approval tonight. But I don't know what the board wants to do. That's,
I'll make a motion to deny the request for continuance. Subject to the, second that with a motion to approve the project as noted.
Where did we leave this one off?
you,
Was this,
where do we leave it off? There was
Is this a
adjustment
meeting I
of,
missed here or something?
remember the driveways, and that's why, Pat Peterson got involved in designing
Oh.
the house lots to show
Okay, yeah,
where
I see.
the houses
Yeah,
are.
I missed that December 10th meeting, that's why I'm,
Okay, and that's why it did
confused here.
take much more detail than in some sites, because it is a wet site. And, the wetland that's being crossed is the drainage ditch in front. The driveways are where the wetland permits are being sought. And obviously, they have not been received yet, but typically, the board approves plans subject to the proper state permits. And you don't normally have the permits ahead of time.
No question.
In terms of precedent.
In the letter, it says, that there was, their request is, their concern was about the additional information requested by the board. I'm assuming they're talking about the planning board. And are those the issues that you're talking about?
I'm saying that planning staff, engineering staff are satisfied that they have been given the information we've requested, and the drawings have been changed.
Right, I understand
So
what,
that's-
I
okay.
understand what you are commenting on.
Okay?
And my question is, what you are commenting on, are they related, or is it the same things that you're commenting on? Is there reference to the additional information requested by the board?
I do not know, because this just came in.
Did we have
Right.
additional information that's not been addressed?
I don't know of any.
Okay. Well, if that's the
I
case,
mean,
I'll
no, I don't
second
know
Alan's
of any.
motion then.
now, would this be a complicating factor since there's obviously some things going on at that December 10th meeting that I'm not aware of, and so I would be more inclined to abstain from this. Is that gonna cause an issue as far as having quorum to vote?
No, you've got a quorum in a meeting.
Okay. So it doesn't
Well, I guess
matter.
don't know.
if there's no additional information that we're waiting for, what's the reason to continue? Is there a reason to continue?
Well, no, I'm saying just independent of that, if we don't, well, here we go, maybe he wanna vote on it. I was just wondering if there'd be an issue since, I don't feel I can participate in that vote, having missed previous meetings on it. So I was just
Fine, an
questioning.
abstention, you have a quorum here.
Okay,
It can be 1 to 2 with an abstention, and it's still a legal vote.
okay.
The only information I have is from Patty Gale, who was at the conservation meeting. She does her report to, the selectmen, to us of what, it's not the minutes, mind you, it's the report. And she said the commission requested the applicant come before the commission at their February 24th meeting for review. So that's what the Conservation Commission asked last night.
Well, if we're considering not continuing it, then maybe we should just wait till we get to it on the regular agenda as it's listed.
So you have a motion on the floor.
Tim?
Have we already extended the time clock on this one, Steve?
Yes, this is where it was open, but they had to come back by a certain date. And they extended that date, you extended it, and they did indeed then come back. And that's why it's before you today, because it was noticed when it was supposed to come back.
Okay, I just wanna make sure we're not extending something without the clock being extended as well.
Oh, well, by the applicant asking, then they're obviously asking you to take more days. If you were to go that direction.
Let Jim get up to speed on this, so he can vote on this as well.
Then they,
Now, if there's a motion on the floor,
I missed the
duly
motion.
seconded,
I missed the motion. What was it?
well, we're in the discussion mode.
So, what was your motion specifically, again, just to deny the continuance? or-
Deny the continuance and approve the plan as
this came, we got
recommended by staff on page 9.
we got to let Jim catch up here, if you
What if we
would
should
like.
do those separately?
There was a memo from Pat asking
I don't know.
for an extension. Okay. She expressed to me that she was concerned about the Conservation Commission and what they might want to recommend or not recommend. Last night at the Conservation Commission meeting, Patty reported this morning that the Conservation Commission requested that this applicant come before them again on February 24th. And in terms of planning and engineering, we have no additional items. So it's an odd duck this
Right,
time.
Tim?
Steve, according to our paperwork here, this was, first began on August the 13th. And it's 6 months later, or 5 months later, and we're still having conservation issues. Has conservation not seen this prior to these recent
The
meetings?
only, no. The one point that I knew came up not long ago when they went to apply for their wetland permit, Conservation did not sign to allow an expedited permit. And I understand the reason was that because the site plan or the subdivision hadn't been approved yet, is what I was told. That's the only issue I know of, other than you all heard from Conservation early on about the wetness of the site, and you had questions, remember, about the pond at the bottom of the site and where it came from and what it fed into and those kinds of issues back when this started.
What is, I guess, what's the rush if Conservation Commission asks for more time? Have they?
They last night
They
asked,
want-
they last night asked that this applicant come before them in February.
Okay, because their concerns have not been addressed.
I wasn't there, so I don't know what was addressed at that time.
Do we, refresh my memory, do we have in the file a report from Conservation Commission? I don't recall that we did, but
I think that they've had a member on this board that discussed it.
yeah, but that's not the same. That's not the same. Don't confuse
No.
the two. The board,
Okay.
Conservation Commission speaks as a board, not as a planning board rep. And if they have concerns that were brought before us and they want further information, don't we, and we don't have a particular reason for moving ahead other than we're tired of seeing this, don't we owe it to them to, not owe it to them, but would it be appropriate to let them review it again? So I don't understand why not.
Customarily, they give their approvals after hours anyways.
To the state, but they also give their comments to us. And we
Especially
don't-
if we need to make, notations on our approved plan, we need to have that on prior to
Well,
approval.
we don't have a report from them yet. And typically we get one. Or we get a formal report that they have not put Hollis's comments on. He doesn't represent the Conservation Commission.
Right, so we do have combined motion.
Well, I guess I'm gonna ask my question again. Okay, the question that I have is, in the letter that came to us, that's dated